Welcome back to Immediate Response. This is Diana's last child, all the way from the Valley with you. My guest in this segment, of course, is Renbert Mortimer from UB, a dynamic young man. I have a comment on here from our Facebook page. Dory Kemp said, a very special good morning, Mr. Finlayson, your guests, and all on live. Don't usually have the opportunity to listen in all the way from Grand Bahama, sending you blessings always. You're doing a great job. To be a senior is a blessing. Wishing you favor from God always. Stay blessed. Yeah, I'm a senior. It is a blessing to be a senior citizen. And Arthur Johnson is tuning in. Good morning, Brother Arthur. Now, let's go back to Brother Mortimer and the program you're doing at UB. Tell us about that, please.
So the program will start slow. We know that a lot of children and young adults are still in school. Some may be in college or looking for jobs. So we have it split for the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
Where on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll be right at Chapter 1 bookstore from 5 to 8 doing 2 sessions.
Miss Cash is over there, eh?
Miss Cash.
Morning, Miss Cash.
Yes, sir. So we'll be there working alongside with Chapter 1 bookstore. And every evening there'll be a different topic, a different speaker.
Right.
Because the first stage is to work on the discipline and the cognitive revolution that's needed in the mind for you to get to where you need to be creatively.
And there's some deep stuff, right?
Yeah. So that's my background, psychology. I know one of the key things in this society when it comes to being a creative or an artist or a writer, a poet, is you first have to find out how to motivate yourself.
Yes, that's right.
And, you know, the sad reality, your parents may not always be your number one cheerleader. Not even your art teacher. So
that's something, eh?
We build it from inside.
Yes, sir.
The program we started several years ago. This is around the time we met. The Village Project. I work very closely with Jamal Rule, His Excellency, Jamal Rule.
Yes.
I worked closely with Alan Wallace at the time, and that program we went into.
Alan's a good guy.
We went into C.W. Saunders. We went into GH. We went into about 12 schools.
Did you get to go to SAC?
Actually, we went into SAC, and SAC was invited to the conference.
Okay.
But, you know, the program there with Mr. Malcolm Mullings, and being a soccer myself, knowing what they have there is so strong.
God.
I just felt it would be better if we allowed space for other people, you know.
Okay, sir.
But we started years ago, man. Back in 2008, me and Jamal, looking at our lives, Jamal, of course, is further than me.
Yes.
And we reached out to schools and had about 400 kids come to Transfiguration. And we did everything from art fights.
Yes.
So that's where you just set up a board.
Yes.
And you just leave it. You don't give them instructions. You just leave a board and a marker.
See what they will do.
And you know what happens when you get a bunch of creatives. And these were not the smartest in the schools.
Right.
These were the troublemakers. This is what we put on the guidance counselor letter. Give us the person looking out the window. Give us the person who's disruptive.
Right.
Give us the person who say they bored, and give us the person with a lot of
energy. And kids can get bored quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Very quickly.
Oh, yeah. But we don't see that as a sign of being gifted.
Yes.
I think Dr. Ruth May says.
Yes, I had her on the show. Yes. She's in Atlanta, I think.
Yeah, she's in Atlanta doing a great job.
Doing a big job, yes.
I had a chance to do an interview with her at the university during the pandemic, and one thing she spoke about was how we need to test for gifted.
Right.
Because, of course, she's gifted. And very brilliant. And in other areas as well. And she's a member of Trans, you know.
Oh, she's a member of Trans, that's right.
Good people, man, good people.
Good people from Trans. So, I got to send a shout out to Chicken then.
Beyond the
Chicken Thompson.
Oh, man, you got to do it. All right, yes. Mr. Thompson, Reverend Thompson.
Reverend Thompson now, yes, a man over at Transfiguration.
Yes, sir. But one thing she said that stuck in my mind is, if we tested our children for their gifts, rather than trying to structure and frame them into what we think they should be, this country, and I believe it as well, would be a better place.
Yes.
And I have an example of that in my program. I want to shout out one of my key artists, my lead artist, Alrika Bain.
Okay.
She's a young lady, and I make fun of her, and I tell her story because I'm proud of her. When I met her, she was shy. Couldn't talk in front of people.
Wow.
Very talented.
Wow, but
gifted
shy.
Beyond me, but shy.
I know that
and
well, so.
She needed a space, trust me, and I've... My way how I mentor, and I'm trained. I'm always trained in mentorship, mentorship. And I got definitely the College of the Bahamas back then. But the way how I had to mentor artists was different. It couldn't be written in a manual. Like the things I did to her, I can laugh about it. I remember when we started Sipping Paint, I literally came to an event 30 minutes late.
Wow.
And that's my job as a mentor. I told her, I'm not your friend. I'm making sure you grow. Yes. I need you to start hosting these events by yourself. And
so you left her alone?
I left her for 30 minutes. When I came there, she was on the... Rika, sorry for sharing the story. She was on the stairs rocking like this, like, Ren, boy, I know what was going to happen. I know what was going to...
Where's Ren?
But this same person who I could say really into people in the social setting have learned the gifts and the lessons.
Yes.
And the skills that you get from caricatures and applied it to life. A caricature artist is one who has to multitask, do the things at once, be skillful, but also retain information about people, which is customer connection.
Yes.
And then apply that and then get paid for it.
Deep stuff.
So now I have an artist who I can say isn't really naturally a people's person, blowing away customers. That at the last 2 events we had at Balmoral, the clients told me, "Oh, we didn't come here for you, Ren. We came here for her. We like her." Woo! And for me, as
that's a big thing.
Miles Monroe talks about legacy. When my client's telling me to leave, and I don't want you, I want her.
Right.
I young. I only 33, but I feel proud, and that's why I like to share a story.
So let me ask you this: Betty Sutherland Brown says interesting show. Annadelle Cummings Wiley, watching us from Toronto, says good show. Her husband was a member of my class at SAC.
Right.
Yeah, Anthony Wiley passed away. Pat Russell is tuned, and her husband is a member of my class. Great George Berry, and Pat is always tuned in. I didn't see Pat out dancing at the ball, but that's another story. What do you say when you see these kids are distracted in class, not paying attention, like you say, looking out of the window, and not like I shouldn't use the word normal, but like everyone else who is really catching on and stuff like that. Most times people look at them as failures.
Right.
How do we see them, Renberg?
For me, again, going back to the mentorship program, going back to what this program is,
yes,
I don't see failure. I only see opportunity. I don't see I see let's find out how. So even when I mentor artists, I always tell them, I am not teaching you to be a caricature artist. You will have the skills to later on get paid if you're good.
Yes.
But I don't want you to be me, but I want you to find you.
Yes.
So to a child, and the generations are changing, right? Adults spoke, you listen. That was how I was growing up too.
That's right. But it's changing now.
At a certain point, a child, a young adult, an emerging adult, has to speak back and start to share their mind. And if that isn't going to be resonating with parents, then we have a problem, because your child is ready to express themselves and tell you what they want to do and tell you what college they want to go to and tell you the part they want to go. But they can't do it out of fear. And so these programs that we do, these workshops we do, allow artists to be free. We are leaving a board and a marker, and they go up and draw. They don't need us to tell them of words and do it. I remember that word setting, how it's laid out is immediate.
But how did that hamper you or impede your progress?
Oh, that destroyed my confidence.
Over at SAC.
It destroyed my confidence. I still remember a good friend, I won't call his name.
Call his name,
I was teased. No, I won't do it, because I cried that day. I was teased in class. I still remember the name. So my phonetic challenges were so serious, Mr. Fenderson,
yes, sir,
that I would count the amount of seats inside class to when it was your turn to read, and deliberately sit 2 seats behind that seat.
Wow.
So when the teacher goes through the class, and I used to look at who reading, how fast they can read, who reading slow, just so when the bell ring, it's my turn to read and I can never read. And I had a teacher who noticed that inside SAC, and what she did one class right after PE, I still remember it, is she switched the order of the room.
So you had to get up. She didn't start
from where she normally starts. She started from the back.
You didn't have time to adjust.
I did not have time. The seat was already taken. So it finally came to my turn to read. And basically, I do this thing where I space read. Because I can't recognize words, I start to want to give the imagery that I'm reading, so I start to say words that are not even on the page.
But Ren, you graduated from SAC and UB.
I did.
COB at the time.
Yes, I did, because I understood lessons back in primary school.
Wow.
One thing teachers taught you is context clues. So if I don't know what a word is sounding it out, I can tell you the meaning by context clues and the sentence structure, right? If I can understand the sentence, I can understand what that word means.
Yes.
And then at the age of 10, going back to the story of my mom, when my mom realized how serious it was, she told me to read the newspaper in the car.
Yes.
And at that point, I ripped up the newspaper and I cried and I said, "You just mean to do this, you embarrassing me." My mom told me these words, and I tell these to my mentors. I never prayed to God for you to be a reader. I prayed for him to give you strength, to give you help, and to give you a sense of purpose.
Wow. Teresa was right on, she was on point. Teresa Mortimer was on point.
My mom said, I don't care, like, mind you, every time I got a C- in English, she'd always be like, very good, try to do better. I used to look at her like, this is my best. Like, what do you want from me? It's never going above a C-. So going back to the teacher to connect the two stories, the teacher would realize that when I read out loud, and shout outs to Miss Nurse inside grade 8 of SAC, who made me stay after school to learn how to read. Thank you, Miss Nurse. Shout outs to Miss Mosley and our ladies at the time in grade 5.
Yes.
Shout outs to Miss Francis in grade 6 and our ladies. All of my teachers throughout my schooling career have always seen that I had a disability.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know it.
Wow, but they knew. They saw it.
I just like, these people just want extra time with me. They probably think I'm sexy or something. What's wrong with
Wow.
No, but
Wow.
literally, now I go into UB, right? Well, finishing with grade 11, to the guy who teased me, my word was negligible. And I couldn't pronounce the word because I was never introduced to it.
Yes.
Now being introduced to it.
You could pronounce it.
You tell me to spell it right now, I tell you the devil is a lie. I can't spell that word.
Right.
But I can, if I see it, I can pronounce it. That's how my disability works.
Wow.
So I had to say the word, and she said, sound it out. And I saw parts of it. I said, no, and then ebel, and I said, I say something that almost sounded good, but the class burst out in laughter.
Ooh, and that's rough when they laugh, eh?
Oh boy, I went to counseling after that. Mr. Forbes had me after
Reggie?
that. Yeah, Reggie Forbes.
The
had
legendary
me after that.
Reggie Forbes?
Yeah, man, that day broke me. I went home and I cried. I felt stupid. I felt.
I can imagine.
I felt like I was inequipped to do it in life, and literally, I carried that straight into junior achievement, where in junior achievement, I would do my speech to win the awards, but I also shared with them that I had a disability, and there was a judge there who came to me and said, you don't have a disability, you have a blessing. If you listen to other parts of your life, you won't even have a chance to focus on this.
Wow.
And she suggested that I read the book Think Big by Ben Carson.
Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, yes.
First book I've ever actually read. I've skimmed books.
But you never read.
I've never read. That was the first book I ever read. I could tell you every story, and this is where your disability, if I could just teach you about purpose, your disability could work for your greater ability in God.
Good stuff, brother.
So
Preach this morning, Aaron.
Because I stopped and I didn't realize how to read like other people. Inside grade 11, when that teacher found that I wasn't good at English, I got an A on my reading comprehension paper, literature. And literally, she put me on the side that Christmas, right after I was embarrassed, to say, if I remove the fact of all these English rules, you're the only one in class who really thinking about these stuff and comparing it to stuff and bringing out stuff. Like, you're very good at comprehension. Very good.
Good stuff,
and I got
man.
an A. And she said, I didn't want to tell them that you got an A because people wouldn't believe it.
Good stuff.
I later would go on. I think I got a B in my BGCSE. Still got a C in English.
Yes.
You give the rules of phonetics, I'll fail you all day. Don't fool yourself.
Wow.
But we have Grammarly and Microsoft Word now, right?
Yeah.
I ain't got to work with that.
So when you would go ahead, finish the story. I want to ask you a question.
All that is to say, the reason why I believe I work better with creators and people who people think of a disability is because I understand.
Good stuff.
I understand what it is to be misinterpreted and misunderstood. I understand what it is that you want to express yourself and you can't. And I've also now been equipped through psychology, and I've been equipped through business, and now find vessels and mediums to help children just put that out in the world, how they want to put it, with no restrictions. And that's all I want to do.
My brother, it's amazing. Were you then attracted to audiobooks?
Audiobooks, no.
Didn't work for you?
So again, there's an ability that comes to my disability. Okay. Everything that I read, because I read slower, and I take it and I study, I actually retain. So now I'm doing my master's, right? Wow. I could quote articles that I read right now. Actually mention the page that it's on.
You serious?
Quote from it. And then I went to Canada where we had to learn APA from scratch. So I never learned AP on the computer. I learned how to look at it, APA style reference, all that. From scratch. So all these skills, because of my latent ability, stick with me. So now, and shout outs to my master's program I'm doing at UB, and my classmates know it's true, I do all my work last minute. I can write a 5-page essay last minute in 2 hours.
So your disability became an ability.
I remember article, I can compare articles, I can say multiple things, all that in my head.
So
it just works. I can do a presentation like I do for UB. I can give you a presentation in 5 minutes.
So before we move on to the next part of this.
All right.
You ever watch the television series Monk?
Yes.
So you,
OCD.
You're a little monk. You got some monk in you. Your monk could recall all these things.
I have symptoms.
And then the OCD part.
So I have many symptoms. I haven't been diagnosed.
Okay.
I wish to be diagnosed, and I have somebody's going to do it for me. But I have many symptoms of those different spectrums. Like,
wow.
I can become obsessive. That's why I don't paint. I don't sit down and paint paintings because I used to do it, and I used to block out for a day because that's how obsessed I get with painting.
Wow.
So that's why I love caricatures. It's all about speed, delivery, get out of it.
Get out.
I don't like replication, right?
Yes.
Plus, I'm a perfectionist. So if you tell me, draw this picture and draw the next picture the same way, naturally I'm going to fight that because I hate doing that.
Wow.
Right.
Glenda Miller says, as a former teacher, loving this show, Bishop, good morning. Thank you. Now, for a man who couldn't read in
There's one grammatical error in that book. I can tell you that.
No.
I can tell you that with confidence.
No. You were able to write a book, How to Tame the Beast, a story to stimulate discussions on dating in the Bahamas.
Yes, sir.
Renbert G. Mortimer II.
Yes, sir.
Brad Colbrook says, interesting. He's watching us from the United Kingdom.
Oh, excellent.
Good morning, Brady.
Mr. Colbrook.
Yeah, so here's the thing in this book, How to Tame the Beast. I had a friend of mine, Dr. E., on, and she was talking about the red flags in terms of relationships.
Right.
Why do people ignore those red flags when it comes to relationships, Renbert? Why do they ignore the red flags?
I'm borrowing so many thoughts from so many books I've read, and I do not want to take credit for it. There's too much knowledge out there for me to say I'm prolific, right?
Right.
Miles Monroe mentioned, how is it that we have to go through all these schools to get a license, but there's nothing for marriage, right? Or for dating, right?
My God.
You also have, of course, the redneck pastor talking about dating. He has great works. And even Bill and Cosby talked about love and marriage. But I want to say that the red flags are ignored simply because we refuse to educate ourselves on relationships. And I'll say sadly, some parents are scared to have the conversations about relationships.
With their children? So what happens in that case?
We understand that we're overqualified to speak, so we choose not to speak at all. If I could crack a quick joke, we have an associate's degree in marriage, a bachelor's degree in courting, a master's degree...
sorry, repeat that again.
An associate's degree in marriage, a bachelor's degree in courting, a master's degree in the art of cheating, and a PhD, and we go in. Because everybody going somewhere. They're a doctorate level and going.
Yes.
And so if we don't articulate and define what's happening in relationships so people can understand the situation that's happening is it's not unusual. It's actually very common. So let's go to red flags. The red flags, documented through science, basically, are stimulations that happen between two bodies, whether female, male, female. I'm not getting into gender studies.
Right.
I'm getting into attraction.
Yes.
Attraction is being studied.
Okay.
And my book, even though it's a dumbed-down version of that, I also studied my bachelor's at that time. Every article I wrote in class had to do something with relationships.
Wow.
So I did research, and what I found out is that the attraction is what we need to study because it's true. I go from eye to body, let's say in a quick scenario, if there was an order. I move from eye to body to eye to waist, to eye to shoulder, to eye. Now you can see me. And then we move from that to I need to get to a comfort level, right? We quickly test comfort levels in our society. We do it without reading books.
Yes.
A man comes to you and he touches your shoulder and you feel uncomfortable. Well, you know he ain't getting none. He can't get past the shoulder. At the same time, the reason why we go to the club is because if I can go to the club and get to the waist and inner thigh, which is heavy petting, if I can get there within 5 minutes of meeting you, think of all the red flags that I have skipped.
Wow.
The longest one, of course, mouth-to-mouth communication. That should be the focus one, asking the right questions, seeing who somebody is, where do you want to take this. We don't focus on that. We have skipped all of those red flags to go straight into a part that a total stranger is now grabbing me by the waist and thigh, and I'm comfortable with this. Ooh. And then you worked it into your adulthood, and now one-night stands have become common. What you have not done is taken into account that the person that is the spirit, the body, and sometimes the diseases that come with them have now entered into your space, and you haven't loved or cautioned yourself to see who this person is you're letting in. You don't know who's at the door. You don't. And that's the number one red flag, that we're not taking into consideration for those who believe it's spiritual.
Right.
And also physical lessons that come. So one of the lessons I taught, I was a weight trainer in 2008, was the 5 factors of dating, right?
Yes.
We love the physical. We put a condom on it. We say we got it.
Right.
We figured this out.
Yes.
We don't talk about the financial.
No.
We don't talk about the emotional.
Oof.
We don't talk about the social.
Yes.
And we definitely, that's tricky. The spiritual. And I've dated enough. I've dated, I think she's a Jehovah's Witness.
Yes.
And within 2 weeks of our relationship, I figured if we stop talking about God, this relationship could work. But so happened, because they grew up in the church, we couldn't avoid God forever.
Kept coming in, and you was a man from France.
Yeah, so eventually once we talked about God, she was like, listen, you sound like you want to preach in church one day, and I can't do it because my religion doing this. And I was like, wow, boy, the real reason, and I knew this from week 2, that we're breaking up is because of our religious beliefs.
Well, let me just share a couple of comments in there, man. We have a few minutes left. Loretta Smith is a very intelligent young man. I enjoy listening to him. Many people can learn from him. Thanks, Loretta.
Thank you.
Alicia Oxley says, good morning, guys. Interesting program today. These philosophies are so real. Yeah, so That goes to unequally yoked then, and run what? Huh?
Well, again, red flags.
Red flags.
Red flags.
Yes.
The
What if the family don't like you?
Tinglings.
What if the girl family don't like you?
If a mommy this and a daddy this, look at these signs, you can tell where it's go. Our Bahamian songs even break it down. If you seeing something in a person, and it's almost, actually, the two are connected. The same way I teach creativity is the same way I teach relationships.
Yes.
If you, as a creative, want to do something and you get a tingly feeling, but something in you, like, remember earlier when I said I have 2 reasons to tell you, I had one.
Yes.
But then when I realized there was a block, I had to say the first one and then the second. I identified the block. So you as a creative, if you can't draw on a piece of paper right now when I ask, you have a block.
Wow.
And the same thing with relationships.
Wow.
If you can't do something because there's reasonings that you must give to explain to your partner, you have a block as well.
Yes.
And the thing is about
dating.
But I can end with one. I said this many times on
practices.
They practice it. I've met young people who've been together for 10 years, not married, no resources together.
Yes.
But they act
like a married couple.
Like a married couple. Clean, cook, live together, and of course.
You mean she's giving him the benefits of a married life and not married?
I've had,
and then he's doing the same thing.
I've had young people at the age of 17, 18, talking to me as if they're married, saying with this and what we could do and what we could plan. I just looking at them like,
wow,
what's the contractual piece of this? Like, what is to say that he doesn't change tomorrow? Oh, he ain't gonna change. I show that. I say, a surety.
Wow.
That's it. You have faith in him.
Yes.
I rather have faith in God. I rather get married. Have a contract in God.
Yes.
But I have a generation that tells me that sounds like rubbish to them and they're scared. I'll tell you about how many hurt people. I have to identify that I date hurt people to help them, not to date them.
Hold on. No,
I made a mistake. I used to date people who God sent my way.
Yes.
When God didn't send them for that. I identified my flaw as a man.
Okay,
he didn't send them to date me. He sent them to receive a friend and help. You
went on to date them, though.
My immature went on to date them, not realizing what was needed. So I end up saying that if you identify, and this is something I've said even when I dated the oldest woman. I'm 33. At the time I was 23.
And you dated?
I dated a woman back then who was like, I think she was coming to 50.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we had a great relationship. I'm not going to lie.
How did that work out, man?
I eventually fled because I couldn't.
You fled?
She introduced me.
Choice of words.
Yes, I did. She introduced me to her daughter who was 17 at the time. And looking at that and thinking to myself, can I introduce this woman to my mom and say I'm in love and this is who I chose? I couldn't at that time be mature enough to do it. If I could go back in time, everything I do and everything I know, I would have chosen.
There was a resounding no.
It was, at that time, a no. I was clearly too immature.
What attracted you to a 50-year-old woman at your age at that time?
Oh, no, I think she was attracted to me, man. Come on, Spence.
Okay,
come on.
sorry.
Literally,
I'm so sorry, man.
I approached her. She did not look her age. Let's say she was 45. I don't want to say 50.
Yeah.
But she didn't look her age. I approached her. I was a young, confident young man. And we began conversation, and she said, "Sweetie, you too young for me. You don't know what to do with a man like me." I said, "Well, you too immature for me."
Wow.
I just trying to figure out if you like sushi, and if we go for sushi and get to know each other, or maybe watch a movie.
Wow.
But you're so immature, you think everybody just wants to sleep with you. So
you told her just like that?
Oh, yes, I did. We instantly went for sushi afterward, and we became best friends then. We're still friends to this day. So, like, I have my second book I'm writing, #dating, and literally, it was a spelling error in my first book, but I'm making it the title.
It was only one error.
It's one error.
Yeah, because you have that OCD.
Yeah, they could hit me for that.
Yeah.
The second title is Dating In, because the simple explanation of dating is this. Bahamians don't fish, we fishing in.
Yeah, we fishing in.
So Bahamians don't date, we dating. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let me read this from Carol Hanna, my big sister. Morning, sincere mentors are the greatest assets for helping our children surmount their disabilities, both physically and mentally and spiritually. He is a great example of success due to others who cared. Excellent lesson today. Thank you, Carolina. I appreciate you. There was another one here. But we have 2 minutes. I'm going to give it to you, brother.
Just
2 minutes.
Off, right. So to wrap it up, that's a piece of the
beats.
book. The book is meant for discussions about dating with you and your child. It's to be read with them, not in silo. Don't tell them, go to their room and read it. You read it with them and you'll talk about the stories in it. I have over 50 personal letters that were written to me as I was a speaker in my journey to the islands.
Yes.
That I put in that book. I took out names and references.
Of course.
So I just want to end with saying you've gotten a piece of me this morning, everyone. I'm glad to introduce myself to your audience. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
This will continue. We will be at Chapter 1 Bookstore, my team and my personal business, and some volunteers at the University of the Bahamas. dedicating time to developing young people this summer. Again, this is not a program where your child is dropped off and you just pick them up. No.
Right.
If they come there and say, I want to write a book, our goal is to make them write a book. If they want to do a movie, our goal is to do a movie.
Good stuff, man.
And we want goal-oriented people coming there.
You have to throw out your numbers, please.
The numbers you can reach me. So I just got a phone with UB. I get in trouble. You can reach me at 825-9390. It's my personal number, 825-9390. But you can also email me at the University of the Bahamas, which is renbert.mortimer@ub.edu.bs. And if you cannot spell my name, remember your childhood. Ren and Stimpy, Ernie and Bert. Renbert.
Oh, well, good
Renbert
stuff.
Mortimer.
Thank you so much, my brother. Dory Kemp said, wow, what a blessing. Much older than you, young man, but oh my God, what a blessing. Thank you, Dory. Brad Colebrook over in the UK say beautiful. Arthur Johnson says awesome guest. There's many people in the world.